FNS Pohjanmaa has a distinguished place in Finland's modern naval history. She was not only a mine layer, but also a school for many Finnish sailors. The vessel also served as a flagship for the Navy for many years and waved the Blue Cross flag in overseas operations. Today we're investigating the FNS Pohjanmaa, one of the most successful Finnish-built naval ships. FNS Pohjanmaa is a little-known naval ship. On the other hand, she has great importance in the history of the Finnish Navy. This vessel was a fine example of the mine layers, a fading term in modern naval literature. To better understand FNS Pohjanmaa, first we should briefly look at the mine layers and the impact of the sea mine. Before we continue, we especially thank to the Satunaista Sotlistoria channel for that we use some of its information. If you want to learn the little-known stories about the history of the Finnish Defense Forces, don't miss Satunaista Sotlistoria. After the 1805 Battle of Trafalgar, the Royal Navy gained unarguable supremacy against its rival. However, the overwhelming British dominance on the seas also sparked new ideas. One of them was the sea mines, whose early modern examples were developed by the Russians in 1812. They were efficient for blocking the passageways of warships in narrow straits and preventing them from entering coastal waters. The sea mines heavily damaged HMS Maryland on June 9, 1855 during the unsuccessful attempt of the Anglo-French fleet to seize the Kronstadt fortress. It was the first in modern naval history. Since then, the low-cost sea mines have become a new hope for many countries under the threat of the gunship policy of major Western powers. They have repeatedly proved their both tactic and strategic value. For example, the sea mines layered by the Ottoman mine layer Nusret turned the 1915 Dardanelles campaign into a disaster and changed the course of the First World War. During the Tanker War of 1984 to 1988 and the 1991 Gulf War, several US warships also became their victims. Today, navies use surface combatants, submarines, aircraft, and civil ships to lay naval mines. However, operating designated mine layers for this job used to be more common. After becoming independent in 1917, Finland took over a mine layer built for the Imperial Russian Navy and named her Voin. She became one of the first vessels of the Finnish Navy, founded in 1918. This ship, renamed as FNS Louhi in 1936, conducted many critical mine-laying operations in the Winter and Continuation Wars. Her success paved the way for the commissioning of two Ruotsin-Salmi-class vessels by the Finnish Navy in 1940 and 1941. During the Second World War, the sea mines laid by these three ships were responsible for the loss of many Soviet ships. They also performed other duties such as escorting, mine sweeping, submarine hunting, and supplying submarines. The USSR, which had seriously suffered from the Finnish mine layers, included a clause in the 1947 Paris Peace Treaty to prevent Finland from using sea mines. Also, this country would have a naval force of no more than 10,000 tons and 4,500 people. Later, the restrictions were eased and Finland commissioned a 360-ton mine layer, FNS Salmi, in 1957. This small ship was the heir of the Ruotsin-Salmi class. Yet, the Finns also desired to have the inheritor of the legendary FNS Louhi. FNS Pohjanmaa, whose design works were completed in 1976, was created to make this desire come true. She was laid down on May 4, 1978, launched on August 28, 1978, and commissioned on June 8, 1979. FNS Pohjanmaa was a pretty big and highly seaworthy ship by Finnish standards. It was unusual to have such a vessel for Finland, which had optimized its navy to operate in the archipelago, not in the blue water. Still, having a cost-effective ship with multi-mission capability was also a natural choice for small populated countries like Finland. Besides creating a 150-mine minefield at a time, FNS Pohjanmaa could also perform the escort and command duties. Her helm-mounted Simrad active high-frequency sonars, rail for depth charges, and the RBU 1200 rocket launchers gave the ship a considerable anti-submarine warfare capability for its time. The mine layer's big cargo bay was suitable for transporting troops and supplies. Besides, FNS Pohjanmaa was serving as a training ship. She looked like an auxiliary vessel rather than a surface combatant. So she was an ideal naval platform for Finland, not to provoke the Soviet Union. FNS Pohjanmaa had a steel hull, which was Ice Class 1A ice strengthened. The vessel could break up to 40 millimeters of ice. The ship, fitted with a bow thruster, had two controllable pitch propellers, which provided excellent maneuverability. There was a helicopter flight deck aft, but no hangar, which made her the first vessel with aviation capability in the Finnish Navy. Still, the ship mostly operated the helicopter for resupplying rather than other military duties. According to Jane's fighting ships, the complement of FNS Pohjanmaa was 90%. She had a length of 78.2 meters, a beam of 11.6 meters, and a draught of 3 meters. The vessel's standard displacement was 1,000 tons, while her fully loaded displacement was 1,100 tons. The propulsion system of FNS Pohjanmaa consisted of two 3,150 horsepower Wärtsilä 16 V22 diesel engines, two controllable pitch propellers, and a bow thruster. Her maximum speed was 19 knots. The ship had a range of nearly 6,500 kilometers, in other words, 3,500 nautical miles. Initially, FNS Pohjanmaa had one 120mm TAK 120mm L46, two 40mm SAK 40L70-350, four 2x23mm twin-barrel ZU-23 SAK guns, two RBU 1200 5-barrel anti-submarine rocket launchers, and two rails for depth charges. The ship could lay 120 to 150 sea mines. FNS Pohjanmaa had impressive gun firepower. One of the reasons the ship had so many different anti-aircraft guns was that it would be also used as a training ship. The water-cooled TAK 120mm L46 had a range of 18.5 kilometers and it could fire 80 rounds per minute. Its three-person crew consisted of one operator and two loaders. After modernization between 1996 and 1998, a 57mm SAK Mk1 replaced the 120mm TAK 120mm L46. The new gun had a rate of fire of 200 rounds per minute and a maximum range of 17,000 meters. There were 6 racks for the 103mm illumination rockets on both gun turrets. The Bofors 40mm SAK 40L70-350 had a practical rate of fire of 300 rounds per minute. Its maximum ranges against surface and air targets were 12,500 and 6,900 meters respectively. During the modernization, FNS Pohjanmaa's 40mm second aft gun was replaced with a hydraulic crane for a new rigid-hulled inflatable boat. The ZU-23 SAK, aka Sergei, was the Finnish-built naval variant of the ZU-23-2. Its practical rate of fire was 200 rounds per minute for each barrel. These manually operated anti-aircraft guns had a 1.5 kilometer range against air targets. Later, the 12.7mm NSV machine guns replaced the forward 23mm guns. On demand, the barrels of the ZU-23 SAK guns could be replaced by the Mistral Manpads launchers. The range of this infrared homing missile with a Mach 2.6 speed was over 6 kilometers. It had a 2.95 kilogram high explosive warhead with high density tungsten balls. Initially, FNS Pohjanmaa had two RBU 1200 5-barrel anti-submarine rocket systems. Its full salvo took 12 seconds. The RGB-12 rocket of the RBU 1200 could create a kill zone of 5 meters in diameter at a depth of 300 meters. It had a 34 kilogram warhead and a range of 1,200 meters. These launchers were removed during the modernization. Initially, FNS Pohjanmaa had been designed to lay the Stonefish sea mines with a 500 kilogram warhead. Later, she was modified for the Merimiina 2000. This stealthy sea mine could carry an 80 to 650 kilogram charge or a torpedo. Some Finnish sources claim that the mine-laying system of FNS Pohjanmaa was one of the best of its time, which enabled her to make a very accurate mine-laying. It was a critical capability. In case of a war, the Soviet warships could have not sailed from Leningrad without conducting an extensive minesweeping operation in the Gulf of Finland. It would have been a difficult task. the Soviet warships would have to escort the mine warfare vessel. But they couldn't have easily maneuvered near a minefield, which would have made them an easy prey for the Finnish fighters, coastal missile and gun batteries, or missile boats. Besides, in a possible war, FNS Pohjanmaa would have laid the sea mines at the entrance of the Gulf of Bothnia to deny the Soviet naval operations in the region, which was vital to supply Finland. Of course, she could not engage in open battles with the Soviet warships in the Gulf of Finland, but this vessel had enough firepower to escort supply ships, especially in the Gulf of Bothnia. FNS Pohjanmaa was also a school for many Finnish sailors. During such missions, she typically carried additional up to 70 trainees. Before her, SAK Mk1, a government-owned steel-hulled full-rigged ship with 3 square rigged masts, and FNS Matti, a converted British Bay-class frigate, had trained the cadets. Like her predecessors, FNS Pohjanmaa performed training cruises far seas annually. She went on a trip around the world on May 10, 1982. FNS Pohjanmaa became the first Finnish naval vessel to participate in an overseas operation by serving in Operation Atalanta in 2011. On April 6, 2011, FNS Pohjanmaa's crew captured a pirate flagship and 2 boats and arrested 18 pirates. Her nickname among the Finnish conscripts was Puama, a well-known amusement park in Finland. Until she was decommissioned in 2013, FNS Pohjanmaa had been the flagship of the Finnish Navy. Later, Estonia and Croatia intended to purchase this highly successful minelayer, but these attempts were never realized. On December 18, 2015, it was announced that the FNS Pohjanmaa would be sold for scrap. But 1 year later, the Finnish state-owned shipping company Meritaito bought her. The ship's armament was removed. She is now a survey vessel called Pohjanmeri. If you happen to be in Finland, you might still see her. FNS Pohjanmaa was like a Swiss army knife. Her combat capability was too low to make the Soviet Baltic Fleet anxious. On the other hand, she was also sharp enough to hurt Finland's enemies. This ship was a true legend in its class. Thanks for watching our video, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments and shares.